rock and roll. Today I have another legend in the Australian rock industry. I have with me Steve Mulry. How are you, mate?
I'm fantastic, Spide. I'm so glad to be here. I've been hanging out for you to invite me to come to your interviews. I thought, they're fantastic.
Oh, you're up on the list, mate. I can't tell everyone that, but
Yeah. But thanks for having me on.
No, hey, mate, not a problem. There's a lot of stories, a lot of history in there, a lot of rock and roll. When we first, it's funny, because I was thinking last night when we first met years ago, was at a mutual friend's birthday party.
Yep.
And I was thinking about that last night when I was thinking about things for the interview, and I was only thinking about you last night on a professional level while
Absolutely.
I was in bed. Jesus. And and I got up this morning and I put my phone on, and it's her birthday today.
Oh, really?
Sarah's birthday, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
that was it kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It was kind of like a bit of an anniversary.
That means I've got to wish her happy birthday. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Mate, I just did it, so I'm in before you. Mate, we were just discussing before the amount of bands you've been in. You've been in so many bands. I'm going to rattle a few off. Hyperactive, Rock Cake, Bitzer, yeah, I noticed who was in that.
Yeah.
Black Label, Ted Mulry Gang, Weekend Detention. You got your own stuff going.
Yeah.
And you've currently got Lawless Breed. Like,
Yeah.
must have been a lot of work like it throughout the years with all these different bands.
Yeah. But I found, look, in let's take Black Label just as an example. Black Label, when it was really cooking, there was a lot of gigs, right? And it was great because you were playing almost every weekend, if not every weekend. But, later on, some gigs sort of slowed down, and then when I left Black Label, there wasn't a lot of gigs around. Times were changing, and I thought to myself, why don't I just, if any opportunities that come along,
Yep.
have a go, because it changed.
Were people chasing you at the time?
There were some people wanted me to do certain things, different bands or different things. But the thing is, I wasn't as open-minded to doing different things then as I am now.
Yep.
And I found to get a lot of gigs, because that's what that's what I want to do. I want to be able to perform a lot, and so I needed to be in more than one band. So I was in multiple bands at the same time.
Yep.
As I am now. And some of them, I've got the original bands going, I've got cover shows, and I've got, the normal classic rock stuff that everybody does, but, it gets you out there singing other people's stuff, you develop, even though, you go, for the amount of years that I've been involved, this is 39 years for me that I've been singing live, I started when I was 3, and, I'm glad you added up that. But anyway, so your style develops,
Yeah.
But then later on, you don't realise you can develop more again.
Yeah.
And in the last, it's been a bit over 6 years since I left Black Label, my style and my voice has developed more so again.
Yeah.
Because when you're singing a certain way all the time, it's pretty hard rock, Black Label, and you lose a bit of finesse in your voice because you're giving it something, And I've been gathering that back again, being able to use my voice in other ways, and it's helped me a lot.
Oh, good stuff. And that's it. With all those bands, in addition to that, having last couple of days like studying a lot of your videos and a lot of your background and like involved heavily in a lot of like shows, the Oz Rock Show, Doc Neeson tributes, Steve MULRY Alliance,
Yep.
And Ted Mulry Gang as well. So how did they come about? Were you an essential part of organising those, or were you like just asked to come along with some of them?
Okay. with the Oz Rock Roadshow, which started around about 2014,
Big names in that.
and it didn't last for long. But,
Yeah.
Yes, on drums was John Pryor, who was from Matt Finish.
Yep.
Bass player was Justin Bianchi. He was from Doc Neeson band.
Yep.
Guitarists were Di Pritchard, of course, on Rose Tattoo.
Great guitarist.
Yeah, Bob Spencer was the other guitar player. I mean, he's been in everything. He's been,
Yep.
you know, Finch, Skyhooks, Angels, Choir Boys, and Rose Tattoo. So a lot of stuff that he's done. And the other singers with me, there was Mark Gable, Angry Anderson, and Mick Peeling from the band Stars.
Yep.
And I was approached to be a part of that. And when it was being formed by John Pryor, he was putting it all
Yeah.
together. And what I thought, wow, you know, in that kind of company, you know, it was big. You
Yeah.
know. And that sort of started me on thinking, you know, maybe I could do other things and be involved with other
Yeah.
people, or maybe high profile people, or, you know. I mean, I guess the thing that kicked all that off was my brother's benefit concert in 2001 when I met so many
Yep.
people who came along to play that night. I got up and sang with John Stevens and all, you know, like, that sort of started more of a diverse
Yeah.
way of performing. And so, yeah, I was most of those bands, I was approached, as I said, by the Oz Rock Roadshow. The Steve Mulry Alliance was for me to do live my album. I had a solo album out.
Yep.
And I hadn't been doing any of those songs. And so I got a bunch of guys together, which was really the Doc Neeson band.
Yeah.
I got Doc Neeson's band
Yeah.
to became Steve Mulry
Well, you're
Alliance.
working with them.
Yeah.
Prior anyway, so.
Yeah, so you know, they I'd done a couple of gigs with them for Doc's birthday. When his
Brilliant.
birthday was in January,
Yeah.
that we did we used to do a show. We did a couple of times where we did a birthday show for, you know.
Yeah.
He was no longer with us, but the
Yeah.
band wanted to do that as a tribute.
Got an anniversary coming up better. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you know, that's how I got that thing going. And Weekend Detention was George and I from Black Label. You know, the idea was to do something different, and if people came, great.
Geordie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we put together Weekend Detention, and it was a bunch of obscure songs. Out of the whole 3 sets we used to do, I only knew 4 songs, and I had to, you know, these are all brand new songs to me. I
Yep.
never really was into that kind of thing, but wow, what a band! And the songs are so good that we got heaps of gigs and plenty of people came to the gigs. You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing you when you think something might not really take off, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden,
Yeah. It was running hot. I remember
yeah,
that,
yeah. So you know, those things were great, and then of course when TMG in 2016, I got a phone call from Herm Kovac, the drummer. We do talk anyway now and again, just you know, and he was saying, oh, you know, we're talking, and the boys are thinking about putting the band back together. And I said, yeah, sure, great, yeah, I'll do it. And I thought,
Is that the drummer?
Yeah.
The drummer, yeah.
yeah, and I thought to myself, he hasn't asked me yet.
Yeah.
He might have just been telling me. And I said to him, did I jump the gun then? He said, no, we are going to ask you.
That would have been
It would be embarrassing, wouldn't it?
better look about
He said, no, we wouldn't have done it with anybody else. He said,
Yeah, of course.
I said, okay.
Absolutely, yep.
And that's when we got, obviously I don't play bass, and Mark Evans joined the band. And then he was with us for 18 months, and then the calling came from Angry, you know, for Rose Tattoo, and that's been Mark's favourite band since forever.
Yeah.
So we said, yeah, sure, go, you know. And we got Tony Mitchell in from Sherbet. So he's been with us ever
Plenty
since.
of big names there.
Yeah.
You've been around.
Yeah,
That's
very
great.
fortunate. I'm nearly finished. I need to finish this one question. It's a big question, this one. It goes for, the answer's going for a long time, I know. And everything else.
No, this is what it's all about, mate.
But,
It's about the chit chat, and I love it. I love hearing these stories.
And then I got, you know, nearly 3 years ago now, I think it was December 2019, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. I got a message through Facebook from Coralie Cameron, who was John English's partner, and she mentioned that his band, which was the Rock Show, because they'd had multiple rock shows, you know. There was a rock
There's a
show,
lot of them going around.
rock show.
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
that's
his
right.
was called Rock Show,
Yeah.
and it was called, the next one he brought out was Rock Show More, then Rock Show Trilogy, and then there was another one, and then the fifth one was the Rock Show Oz Edition. So it was to do songs from all the people he had worked with
Yep.
over the years. Like, you know, he met people in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yep.
You know, like John Paul Young. He also met the guys from Air Supply. That's where they got together. The guys at Air Supply got together at Jesus
Yep.
Christ Superstar to make Air Supply. You know, all these
That
things.
was great, man.
Absolutely. So all the stuff in this show was Oz music, and it was people he was associated with. And I said, and she said, you know, can you replace John? We want to start the band up. And I said, well,
Wow.
nobody can replace John English.
Yeah.
She said, no, I didn't mean that. She said, could you step in as the lead vocalist and MC of the show? I said, well, yeah, let's have a talk, you know. So we got together and went through different songs. I said, I don't think I can sing that. Because everybody in the band's a singer,
Yeah.
apart from the drummer. Everybody else is a singer. And, you know, they all had different bits to play. And they're all multi-instrumentalists. They're all swapping instruments, and I'm standing there in the middle going, yeah, mate, yeah.
You're MC.
I'm MC, and I play a whistle and I tap on a conga just to make it look like I know what I'm doing.
That's all good, mate.
Stuff like that, you know. And so yeah, I've been doing that show for a couple of years now, and it's just mind blowing how good these people are. The musicians are unbelievable.
You were saying before about like learning all the you know, all these songs and you know, and again doing some research on you early, and it's just watching you singing all these songs. You get a lot of people, you know, and they'll get up and they'll put music in front of them, or you know, these little things they got now with iPhones and all that, checking out. I've never seen you do that once.
No.
And a credit to you, because look, you know, being a singer, I've been in a few bands, not as great as that, but yeah, people just go, oh, you know, come along and sing these songs, you know, and you might know them forever and a day, you know, and there's just these little lines and things like that, and you end up singing the old, you dance on the dance, yeah, rock and roll, you know, people still rocking, you know.
Yeah, you got to get it out somehow.
Yeah,
I know this song real well.
Yeah, I remember I was with Steve once, one of your guitarists, and he was, he was singing different backing vocals to me, and just like looking at me real strange, like, mate, your own material, do you enjoy, having said that, like with all these bands and these tribute bands and great stuff and just very exciting, you know, for you. Obviously, you enjoy doing your own stuff and all that as well. And
I do. From the beginning, my first 4 bands were all original bands.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do... We're doing covers with them, but mainly original stuff, you know. Black Label, it was one of them as well. And, you know, it was only later on that I started doing some cover things. And it's great. I really enjoy doing some cover stuff because you get to do songs that... Well, sometimes you get to do songs you don't like, but... You do songs that you've always liked, you know, and weren't able to do in the bands that you were in.
Yeah.
And it, you know, as I said, that
put your own spin on them.
Yeah, put your own spin on them, but it also broadens your vocal ability and how you sing things, and you know. But yeah, I've always been in bands I've always been in a band at all times that were original, that had original music.
Yeah.
Even though I was doing cover things on the side, I've always been in bands that have original material.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love doing my own stuff. You know.
Well, of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't do
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah.
Hey?
It's great when people sing your words back too.
We'd all be singing April Sun and Cuban.
And I do that in a band called Rock Cake, ladies and gentlemen.
That's excellent. I've got to come along with that. With yeah, and you mentioned it before, and that's why I have this as a question. With Black Label, very heavy music, you know, and you're rocking that out very fast, very hard, and then I see your other different styles with your, you know, your bluesy work and all that. How was that going into that heavier side? Was it strange for you, or?
When I started in Black Label in 1997, I mean the band had already been going prior to that. it wasn't what it ended up being. It became heavier with every album.
Yeah.
And because the members were coming and going, you know, you get different people in and they write a little differently, and you write what you write, you know. Like,
especially with the original stuff.
That's right, you just write.
Your influences come out.
That's right. But in the early days, like the first album was very southern, like very much, you know, had a bit of Leonard Skinner in it, you know. It had Molly Hatchet, probably a little bit of Black Crows, maybe. Not quite, but, you know, it had a lot of influences. When I listen to that album now, it blows me away how much it was. I didn't realise at the time how much of a southern sounding album, southern rock.
I love that southern rock sound. I'm a big 38 Special fan.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go. You know, I mean, but listening to it now, I go back and go, wow, I didn't realise at the time what we were writing. We were just writing, right?
Yeah.
And then the next album was a sort of more straight ahead rock, and the next one was a more very polished. The third one was the Seven Deadly Sins was more polished, and then the last album was full on. That was Blood Money.
Yeah. And
we did 2 live albums as well, but you know, it became heavier just because of the people involved. And but
I remember the gigs. The gigs were heavy.
I liked every stage of that band. Everything from the very beginning right through up until I left. I liked everything that we were doing.
Yeah.
Great. I think there's some really good songwriters in that band.
Yeah.
Laurie Marlowe writes some great riffs. Ross Flynn was in that band, and he writes some really good stuff.
Roscoe,
Yeah. Kevin Pratt, great music, great lyrics.
Right.
And even Geordie on the drums, he wrote some really good lyrical, like some of the stuff that he wrote, like Dirty Little Bitch.
Dirty Little Bitch, yeah, he wrote that. I remember that. Yeah.
Downhill Road from the first album, he wrote the lyrics to that. Kev Pratt wrote the music. He wrote some really good lyrics, and the oldies, you know. I mean, I had some songs involved as well, but you know, those guys. We always had really good songwriters coming, and you know, they were good at writing music together. Yeah. And that's with my new band, Lawless Breed.
Lawless Breed.
It's again taking us back to early Black Label in a way. Some of it, not all of it. But you know, Kev Pratt's in the band with me again, so his stuff's coming out, which is great. Just for me, original music is the way to go, but the cover stuff is good for me to experiment with and see what my voice can do.
You got with Lawless Breed, you got some good talent in there too.
Yeah, I mean, besides Kev Pratt, the other guitarist is Tony McDowell.
Yeah.
And Tony's awesome player.
Working with Swanee.
Yeah, he was in Swanee. Well, so was Kev. Kev was in Swanee for a while.
Yeah.
In fact, we do have a keyboard player who we've done 3 gigs so far, and he hasn't been able to do any of the gigs with us. But he was in Swanee as well, and that's Darren Rowland Keys.
Yeah.
He's actually in John Paul Young and the All Stars at the moment too. So there's him. The bass player is Damien McDonald, who was in a band called Phantom with me as well.
Yeah.
And
he's in a few bands.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah, and drums is Adam Gunga, Rock City Saints, and
I've worked with all those guys, bar Adam.
Yeah.
But I sold Adam a bass amp years ago.
Did you really?
Yeah. He come to my house and we're just talking band stuff out the front, you know, and he's a great singer too.
He's got a good voice.
Yeah.
I think he
pumps out that rock stuff when he wants to. So
he's good at AC/DC and stuff.
Oh, brilliant at it. Really good, you know, and then doing the drums up behind.
Yeah, while he's playing drums,
I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do if I was playing guitar up the front and the drummer was singing. It kind of freaked me out a bit. No offence to anyone. So you getting onto that, you've worked with a lot of greats before too, like Angry Anderson, you were saying before, Mark Evans, Rick Lum.
Rick Lum, in Rockade.
You're still working with Rockade?
Yeah. So Rick contacted me. And that was over 2 years ago as well, and he said, I'm putting a band, got this band get together. I said, oh yeah. He said, just wondering if you're interested. I said, yeah, I'm interested, yeah. I said, who else is in the band? He said, nobody yet.
Rick Lum's bass player from Hush.
Yeah, from the 70s.
I got a girl called Bonnie. I love that band. I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.
Rocket.
So
It's
yeah,
some great live stuff too, you know, when
Yeah.
you look at some of the old vids.
yeah,
It must be fun, eh? Must be fun. A lot of memories.
it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Yeah.
At that level, you know, it's
Yeah,
be
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, I've always thought to myself, not just with Rick, but with those bands, you know, why they would want me involved, and I put a lot of thought into it, and I came up with a conclusion that I was either really good or really cheap, and
Or a slut.
but so,
I better edit that out.
yeah, no, you can keep that, yeah.
Mate, you're working with Ted Mulry Gang.
Yeah.
Your brother Ted.
Yep.
You know, great stuff. You know, I kind of didn't bring that up at first because, you know, it's a known thing and it's brilliant, mate. When you were saying when you got the call to sing in the Ted Mulry Gang and you did some tour.
Yeah.
Was that emotional for you?
By this time, Ted had been gone for 15 years.
Yeah.
So it was emotional, but not as in a whimpering, crying type emotion.
Yeah.
There was a lot of emotion welling up in
Yeah,
regards
and that's
to...
why I asked the question. It's just the things
Yeah.
that would have been going on in your
Yeah,
head, you know.
I mean, particularly the first bunch of gigs, because number one, I mean, yes, I'd been singing a long time by then, but you didn't want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
You know, it was diehard fans who had been wanting Ted Mulry Gang to get back together for years, and they were coming to shows, you know,
Yeah.
and I think you put the pressure on yourself, of course. I put myself under a lot of pressure because Ted and I, I don't naturally sing like Ted. Our voice, our vocal ranges are very similar.
Yeah.
But I sing differently. I sing more from a lower abdomen level, or diaphragm as we call, and Ted was more a high chest voice, right? And so it's different styles. So I had to learn to sing more in that way.
Yeah.
And also I use a lot of vibrato when I sing. Ted never used vibrato.
Yeah.
So I had to learn as well whilst I was singing I had to deliberately think of not using vibrato. And it took me quite some time. But then eventually I got it.
Yeah.
And it comes more natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the emotion was to get it right for the fans, to do justice to what had been recorded
Yeah.
in the first place. The intention was never to do it my way.
Yeah.
You know, it was never the intention, because the band really is a tribute to Ted.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
you know.
course.
And I wanted to do it because for them.
Yeah.
Because when Ted passed the day before his 54th birthday, he was the oldest guy in the band.
Yeah.
So everybody else had just turned 50 or 52. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's still young,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And the band finished. That was it. You know, I mean, yes, they've done other little things on their own, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it was good to see him. You know, I was watching some of the stuff there before. It's great. You know,
They're a great
love
band.
yeah. And look, I think personally, for myself, you know, I'm not speaking for them, but I think that would have been great for them. I think it would have been a bit of weight off their shoulders or something or other to have you know, representing your brother on stage.
I mean, I didn't think of it
Yeah.
in that way. I wanted them to get out there again. I wanted to do it because I wanted.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a big thrill for me to do it.
Yeah.
But they deserved it.
Yeah.
They deserved it because they, you know, some of that music they wrote themselves, you know, and
Yeah.
that was their music. Wasn't just Ted's music. It was their music, and it needed to still be played.
Yeah, you were having fun on stage.
Oh, absolutely.
It was great. It was great to watch.
Yeah.
You can see that emotion coming out in it. You know? It's funny how you mentioned before about your vibrato. I remember I did a couple of, you know, there's been little projects I've done before where, you know, I've done a few of Steve's songs and all that, and everyone will say like try and do it like that and everything, and so it's exactly what you were saying before. You got a lot of that. You're a singer, a great singer, and I sing like a cat's been hitting the balls of a hammer, So,
I didn't say that.
but I understand that. I understand that. When you're trying to do something justice, but in the same sense, you don't want to do it your way, but you still want to do it justice.
Yeah,
and
it's hard, isn't it?
It's
when your voice isn't like that.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. All right, so currently. We mentioned before, Lawless Breed, gigs coming up.
Yeah,
You've been gigging.
We've been gigging, without our keyboard player. We've done 3 gigs, 2 on the Central Coast and 1 at Bidwell.
Yep.
Just not far from you, really, when you think about it.
Yep.
What, 20 minutes or something?
Yep. Yeah, you haven't got me because I was
out
that night.
Yeah, he didn't
I remember that night, I was out.
And, so we've got... did I mention the Melbourne gigs coming up?
No.
Because we haven't got any.
I've got to say, you're a bit of a character too. I've got sucked into that one.
But so some gigs coming up, again, Central Coast mainly for Lawless Breed.
Brilliant.
What
about Rock Cake? Is it still going?
Yeah. So we're rehearsing tomorrow night.
Yep.
And for a gig, when's this going to be played, by the way? Because it might come out after the gig if I say the date.
Depends on what we do the editing.
Right. Well, soon there's a Rock Cake gig, which is actually 22nd of this month.
Yep.
But so we're rehearsing for it because we don't play a lot, but when we have to get together and we try and hit as many songs as we can for the coming up gig,
Yeah.
Same with TMG, by the way. We haven't played for 2.5 years because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But when we do get together, it'll be one rehearsal.
Yeah.
Before the gig.
Well, that's
But
what
that's
great
how good
musos
they
do,
are.
mate.
That's how good they are. But yes, Rock Cake. Yes, mate. Still going.
Great stuff. Doc Neeson, 10-year anniversary birthday bash. That's coming up.
Well,
we need to really plug that because that's going to be great.
Yeah. So what that is, that one, I'll explain what the anniversary actually is. So, it's 10 years ago on the 27th of October, which is a Thursday night, unfortunately, but it's 10 years to the day since the last time the Doc Neeson band played with Doc.
Okay.
And what we're going to do, and I've been asked to do the vocals and that, which is, again, nice to be asked to do that. Too cheap again. And we're doing exactly the same set list as Doc did that night.
Yep.
So exactly the same songs.
Beautiful.
So it'll be songs from the Angels.
Yeah.
It'll be songs from Red Phoenix, which was a band that he was in after because he had the Angels and then Doc Neeson's Angels and so he released an album. The name of the band was Red Phoenix. So we're doing about 3 songs off that album, and then he liked to do covers of other
covers.
bands.
I've seen that. I was just watching it before in the last one.
Yeah, so we're going to do John Lennon, a working class hero. He liked doing that.
Yep.
We'll be doing Rolling Stones, and also what's the third cover? There's three covers.
Yeah.
Can't even think what they are, but what the third one is. But
Bet you remember the
I was at rehearsal last night too, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, so we're doing some of his the stuff that he liked to do, cover wise, And then we all decided we'd pick a song, a song that Doc had done in the past, whether it be Angels or whatever. Everybody in the band picked a song to do as well.
Okay.
And in fact, there's a bit of a special thing coming up too in that show.
That'll keep bands together.
Yeah.
Less arguments that way.
Yeah, less arguments. But we've got a girl coming, Susie Lee, and what she was given a song by Doc to record, and so she's going to sing that song.
Oh, brilliant! That's good. That's great.
And also, she was in another band called Stella, and this band, the Doc Neeson band, were also called Stella on the side when they went out and did other shows.
Yeah.
And they recorded an EP, and these songs that we're going to be doing with her singing. There's 2 songs were on that EP for Stella. So she's going to do 2 songs. Doc gave her one on his own, and the other one was written with the guitarist from the band, Mitch Hutchinson. So that she'll be singing those songs.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's looking forward to that. Actually.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great night.
yeah, we hope so.
And yourself personally, you got a new song out at St. Louis.
Yeah, okay. So another band we didn't mention, is it?
Baha!
Okay. So in Queensland, I've got a band in Queensland I'm involved in called the Masters of
Bloody hell.
the Masters of Pop, and the Masters of Pop are on drums. It's Greg Henson from John English and the Foster Brothers band.
Yep.
When he wasn't available for one show we did a couple of years ago, we got John Carson in from 1927
Yep.
to do that gig. The bass player is Tony Mitchell from Sherbet in that band. Guitarist was Robbie James from Ganga Jane.
Wow.
But the second gig that we did, he wasn't available because Ganga Jane were playing. How dare they?
Yeah.
So we got Rex going, and Rex is from Air Supply, so he replaced Robbie James. The third gig we did, neither of them were available.
Bloody hell.
So we got
All gigging, obviously.
Brett Williams from Choir Boys.
Yep.
So so whoever we can get, we get. And the keyboard player was the guy who was in John Paul Young and the All Stars for 38 years. He left last year. That's China Walker.
Yep.
And that's basically the band. So we decided to release a couple of songs this year leading up to we've got a show coming up at Airlie Beach
Is that a festival?
Festival of
Oh,
Music
yeah.
in November.
Talking to the promoter a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Great bloke.
Yeah. So we're doing that. So yes, St. Louis. So that was the first release. And have you seen the film clip?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, trains. Always
Yeah.
trains. All these musicians I know are all involved in trains.
We all work in trains. But that was an interesting film clip.
Yeah.
While I'm singing with a foot on the ballast, the train comes flying
Yeah.
past. No, it wasn't dangerous, folks.
Yeah, a bit of editing going on.
I can't go into all the how we got
They're
that.
all rail safety.
Yeah, all rails over. So maybe I can. What actually happened when we recorded that? Everything that was in that film clip, I did in China's garage.
Yeah.
Everything right. So we had a green screen on the floor, green screen on the walls.
Yeah.
And so I could see a video in front of me of what I was doing with the background was showing what. So I'm singing the song, and I got my foot on this thing. We put a steel crate under the green screen.
Yeah.
I put my foot on it, so it looked like my foot was on the ballast of the railway track, right? So I'm singing away, and I can see the train coming behind me, and then just as I saw it come next to me, I went like that, right, as if there was a train next to me.
Yeah.
And China's wife, she was standing just out of the shot with a fan, like a big pedestal fan.
Oh, okay. So like the wind.
Yeah. So she went like that, and my hair went like that, as if the train was passing me. So.
And you're waving to the people in the train.
That's right. I did.
Just waving to the next door neighbours cooking.
And the funny thing was about that. Funny you should mention that. Is I didn't realise because I'm looking at nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And I just went. Funnily enough, somebody just got. If you look at the video, somebody just gone past looking out the window, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it
coming out great.
Turned out right.
Coming out. That's an old. Who used to sing that? Was it Easy?
Easy Beats originally.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 66 or something they brought it out. I can't think. 60 something. And then John Paul Young brought it out in 75.
Yeah, and I think you did it with Bitzer.
I did it with Bitzer as well. Different version. Totally different version.
Okay.
Yeah. Like we took bits out of the Bitzer one. Took bits out of the Bitzer. And it's a different recording altogether. Totally different. Yeah.
So out of everything,
Yeah.
we'll start wrapping up. What was your best ever gig?
Well, there's probably a couple. One would be, when we say good gig, it's probably not a good reason, but the benefit concert, the Ted Mulry benefit concert. The 2 nights was fantastic because I met so many big names in the industry. John English being one of them, and I sang with John Stevens, and so I met a lot of people. So
And it had meaning. The gig
had meaning. It was
a
lot of people, and it was huge. another big gig for me was Black Label playing at. We used to every year, nearly, not quite every year, but we used to play at the Bankstown Motorcycle Show at Easter, and we played one that was about 7,000 people, and it was pissing down with rain, and everybody came under shelter. So it was, we had a massive, it looked great, it looked fantastic, and that was a really good
The
gig.
ambience just went up about 200%.
Yeah, and really, a lot of the TMG shows are good because it's just people are passionate about seeing the band. You know?
Yeah, so many good musos, Steve. Mate,
I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, and look, it hasn't finished. You know, it's continues to this day, and just keeps continuing. I noticed you put up on Facebook the other day. You know, like you got this on, you got that on, and I'm glad you mentioned the interview. And and it's, you know, you talk. It sounds like, you know, it's good to be busy again, but I don't think you've ever really not been busy.
No, that's true. I mean, I think I'm busier now because of the multiple things and the amount of songs I have to.
Yeah.
Because every band's playing different songs. I think the only song that's in every band that I do, the only song is "Jump in My Car."
Okay.
In everything,
well, you know.
In everything I do.
Of course, you know.
But everything else, it's, you know.
Guess what I got for you?
What do you got, man?
I got a beer cooler.
Oh man, I never brought you nothing.
You're my guest.
Oh, that's right.
And a Baditude t-shirt.
How good's that, peeps? Look at that. Holy snapping arseholes, that's great.
Mate.
Thanks, mate.
Best of luck with everything. Best of luck
you.
with all the singles. Best of luck with all the tributes. Best of luck, mate. If you ever play down at Bidwell again, I'll get down there. But I'm going to come to all the other shows tonight, of course.
I'm hoping you do. And I've got to tell you what, one really good idea that you had, and I think it's brilliant, is how you fill these up with vodka before we started. I think it's freaking awesome. Good on you.
Keeps it going. You are with Steve Mulry and Spider White, and you're on Baditude Rock and Roll! Yeah! Hey, before I go, can you do a song with me?
Yep, let's do it.
Excellent. Rock on!
Alex, the drug lab drum machine! Woo! Been around since the 90s! Riding down the highway, going to the show. Stopping all the byways, playing rock and roll. Try to